Years ago I nearly went to somebody's funeral, but they weren't even dead. This is called Wrong Funeral. I was with my mate Dickie. We were over on platform 3 when I saw a sight so shocking and confusing to my mind. I thought my eyes were deceiving me. There he was, dead Bernie, and he was walking up platform 2. "Hey Dickie," I called out, "there's Bernie, he ain't dead." "Oh yeah, I know mate," he said. "I saw him the other day. I was pretty shocked too. Sorry mate, I didn't tell you. I forgot to say." Bewildered, I asked Dickie, "So when you saw him, did he say anything?" "What, why he wasn't dead?" "No mate, I didn't see him to speak to, I just saw that it was him." When he was closer, Dickie shouted over, "Hey Bernie, we thought you were dead." "I ain't bloody dead," a clearly pissed off Bernie said. "Well, that's it," I said to Dickie. "We made the right decision there, you know, about not going to his funeral. Miserable old bastard. I'm bloody glad we didn't go." Seriously though mate, I don't get it. It was Jed who told us that Bernie had died, and he ain't got the heart or imagination to make something like that up. He wouldn't have ever lied. Yeah, and he's one of the kindest guys I've met, and don't you think that when he told us, he seemed a bit upset? Yeah mate, he definitely was. There's something very strange going on. You know, Ray gave us the time and date of the funeral as well, and I know that Wilf and Crundon and others said they were going along. "Hey mate, bloody hell, that was definitely Bernie, wasn't it?" I said with a grin. "He ain't got no identical twin. That would be really unfortunate, wouldn't it, for someone else to look like him?" "Yeah, that is definitely him mate. I saw him closer up the other day. Can't help but think that this is some big wind-up, some massive joke, and I bet it's got something to do with Ray." "Yeah, and with the way Bernie reacted back there, I doubt if we were the first to have said, 'Hey Bernie, we thought you were dead,' and if we ain't, I can understand his reaction, to be fair." "Yeah, I reckon you're right about Ray, with his non-stop wind-ups and piss-take every single bloody day. All seems very elaborate though, but if it is true, I'd really like to know if anyone else went to the funeral, and if so, who did go. Let's go and find Jed and see what he's got to say." We found Jed in his usual spot, on the bench by the footbridge platform 4. A regular part of the scenery here, had been here many times before. "Hiya Jed, how you doing mate?" we said. "Look, we've got some news to tell you. Bernie isn't dead. He's over there on platform 2. Jed wore his most vacant, confused expression, one that he could pull off so well. And for a moment there I thought he was going to tell that he didn't have a clue what we were on about, and that he was going to deny ever having told us that Bernie had died. Then a realisation seemed to pop into his head. "Not that Bernie," he said. "It was old Bernie who died, not him over there. I know that he is still alive." Confused, I looked at Dickie and Dickie looked at me. "Jed, ain't that old Bernie on platform 2? "No, that's just Bernie. It's old Bernie that's dead." "We never knew another Bernie, Jed." "Didn't you?" he said, looking very confused again himself. "I thought you knew him. Old Bernie was always here, never really went anywhere else." "What did he look like then, Jed?" "Well, the last time I see him, he didn't look very good to me. I suppose he weren't very well, you see." With my confused mental processing, a very strange thought entered my head. "Jed, which Bernie was it that pissed himself on the bus?" "That was old Bernie." "And who set fire to his bed?" "Old Bernie, the one that's dead." "Oh, thanks Jed, we best go and see Bernie now that you've cleared that up for us." I said to Dickie, "This is very strange, and all those times we avoided sitting near Bernie on the train, just in case he pissed himself like we thought he did on the bus, but it wasn't even him, it was some fucker else." "Yeah mate, I was thinking the same. Hey, do you reckon Ray thinks that old Bernie is the Bernie that we know too, I'd love it if it were true. And he turned up at the wrong funeral. He'd never live it down. With all the piss take he gives out, it would drive him out of town. Then, over the footbridge, we bumped into Ray. Everybody seemed to be there that day. It was the day that Britannia was coming through. Hiya Ray, how you doing? Mate, did you know there was 2 Bernies and it was old Bernie who died, not the one at the end of platform 2? Yeah, of course I do. Oh, said Dickie and me disappointedly. We never knew old Bernie, see? Never knew old Bernie, didn't ya? No, Ray, what did he look like? I'm sure you knew old Bernie. Old Bernie was always here. Hung about outside the toilets, tunnel end of platform 2. Or if he wasn't there, he never went that far. Across the road to the station hotel, and he'd be propping up the bar. Then a realisation came over Ray. Yeah, you do know old Bernie. And I thought he was about to put a face to a name. Yeah, about a year ago, I was doing my impression of him pissing himself on the bus, and we were all laughing about it, remember? Course we do, Ray. It was very funny. But Ray, there was no one else there. There was you, only you and us. Yeah, but you do know who I was talking about, though. No, Ray, we don't. We thought you were talking about someone else. The Bernie over there. Oh, no, I wasn't talking about him. I don't think he pisses himself. Yeah, well, he's the only Bernie we know. So we thought that he was dead. So when we see him, we're thinking, this is all some big wind-up, and it's got something to do with you. Getting people to go to his funeral when he wasn't even dead. See, we thought that Bernie was old Bernie until we just spoke to Jed. No, you got me all wrong. I wouldn't make stuff like that up. In any case, if that Bernie had have died, no fucker would have gone. Yeah, well, we nearly bloody did. But we were only thinking about going because we thought a load of others were going along. Now that would have been really funny. You 2 at the wrong funeral, laughed Ray, and Bernie over there not even dead. You would have taken so much stick. Felt like a right pair of dicks. Excuse me. Yeah, anyway, Ray, I said. Dickie and I were both shaking our heads. We just shouted over to Bernie when we were over on platform 3, told him we thought he was dead, and he told us he wasn't, but he seemed really pissed off to me. Well, that's really funny and all, said Ray, but I think I know why that is, you see. Norwich John has really wound him up, and you know what he's like. Thought he was dead too, apparently, so you ain't the only ones. But Bernie probably thinks you're taking the piss. Oh, Ray, we'd better go and see him, explain about all of this. I wouldn't even bother if I were you. Let him believe you were taking the piss. No, we'll go and see him, mate. But Ray, did anyone go to old Bernie's funeral in the end? Did Will from Crundon go? No, I don't think so. Probably just Jed. I don't really know. Oh no, Dickie said. We never even asked Jed if he'd gone. No wonder he looked so confused. Poor guy's probably seen old Bernie lowered into the ground, and then we come along and tell that we found old Bernie alive and well, over there on platform 2. And he probably thought briefly in his mind, before he twigged we'd got the wrong guy, has he gone to the wrong funeral too? Yeah, mate, that's quite sad and funny too. But I think you're right. I've never seen poor Jed look so confused. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go and see Bernie, then go back and see Jed. Make sure that he's all right. Oh, mate, what a day we're having. And Ray's right, Dickie said with a frown. We're the ones who wouldn't have ever lived it down. But imagine if we had have gone, we wouldn't have known anyone else there, except maybe Jed. Not even the guy whose funeral it was. So bloody relieved, mate, we didn't go along. Yeah, and I think they have photos. Photos of the dead people. Not the dead people, but the dead people when they were still alive. And then we would have realised that ain't the Bernie we know. We're at the wrong funeral, mate. We shouldn't even be here. We had better go. Yeah, but mate, we couldn't just say, oh, sorry, wrong funeral, get up and walk out. You know, with people's heightened emotional states, we'd have probably been knocked out. Or we could have pretended to know him and seen it through to the end. But we could have got some awkward questions, like, how did you two know old Bernie? And we say, he was just a friend. But we could have got other questions much more awkward than that. And we could have got caught out and then have to admit that we are at the wrong funeral and look a right couple of twats. Well, mate, probably the best thing for us to have done would be if one of us had pretended to get really upset and cried and the other one say, excuse me, he's in a really bad way, I better take him outside, and then just done a runner. You know, a lot of people there, they probably would have thought, who the fuck are they? But I think we'd have got away with it. Excuse me. I suppose if we had have gone though and seen a picture of old Bernie, at least we'd have known what he looked like and maybe even recognised him too. Because at the moment we still don't know, still haven't got a clue. We caught up with Bernie at the end of platform 2. Hey Bernie, we weren't taking the piss. We really thought that you were dead. We never knew old Bernie. We thought that old Bernie was you. And nearly went to your funeral too. Oh really, he said a bit suspiciously. Well, if that's true, you ain't the only ones who thought it was me who had died. I saw that bloody Norwich John last week and he said the same thing as you see. Only he goes, oh, I thought you were dead. And then I see him again the other day and he says exactly the same thing. Like he's forgotten he's seen me previously. And the both times he says it really blasé. Like he weren't really bothered. Didn't give a toss either way. Anyway, lads, it was kind of you to want to come to see me off. But as you can see, I'm still here. And I plan to be around for at least a few more years. Dickie looked at me and I looked at him. There was no need for us to say anything. Bernie didn't need to know. It really didn't need to be said. We decided not to go to his funeral before we knew he wasn't dead. I felt that Bernie was looking at us a bit suspiciously. And then he said, lads, you say you thought old Bernie was me? Yeah, that's right, Bernie. Well, there are a lot of stories about old Bernie, you see. I suppose you've heard them too. Well, the truth is, Bernie, we only know 2. Which ones have you heard? It may sound a bit absurd, but we heard one about him pissing himself on a bus and also one about him setting fire to his bed. Bernie seemed to be mulling something over in his head. And then he said, you two have acted very strange every time I've sat near you on the train. You make any excuse to go and move, like you need to stick your head out the window, stretch your legs, go to the toilet, the buffet car, anything. I always wondered why, but now I know. Lads, I've got full control of my bladder and I don't piss myself, you see, which is why old Bernie hung around the toilets on platform 2 and not me. Yeah, well, we know that now, don't we? But Bernie, imagine if you were us. You wouldn't sit near someone if you thought he'd pissed himself on a bus. And another thing, he continued, I don't smoke, but if I did, I wouldn't smoke and drink at the same time while lying in my bed, fall into a drunken stupor, wake up to find me bed on fire and have to put the fire out with the rest of me beer. Are you lads understanding me? Am I making myself quite clear? Yes, perfectly, Bernie, but we never knew if the stories were true anyway. Thought they could be made up, you see. Oh, they were most certainly true, said Bernie, just not about me. Dickie and I wandered back along the platform on our way back to see Jed. Don't know why we bothered, mate. He was having a go at us. Yeah, and taking a piss, Dickie said. Or because we thought he was old Bernie and we thought that he was dead. I wish it had have been him who'd pissed himself on the bus. Yeah, mate, and got pissed and set fire to his bed, just like we thought he did. Yeah, and we really could have taken the piss out of him instead. Oh well, mate, we definitely won't even be considering going to his funeral when next time he is really dead.